And yes, we are recording today. My name is Jessica Pierce, and I'm the CEO and founder of Career Connectors. And we are recording the call today. And what that does is allows you to view back this event. We'll get it restarted in a second. There we go. So what that allows us to do is we will post this on our website so you all can view back the content if you would like later. So if you would like to take notes, feel free, but we will also have a blog and we will have this recording available to you all later. So welcome, Erin. If you could go ahead and go to the fourth slide. I just wanted to share with you all what we're about today. And so I started this organization in 2009, and we've served thousands and thousands of people. And we are just so glad you all are here. Our goal is to really elevate communities by empowering each of you, job seekers, employers, and service providers. And so when someone's going through career transition or looking for a new opportunity, even if you're currently employed, because we're in a phenomenal market right now, and so there are opportunities out there. But when you are looking for a new position, sometimes it can feel lonely, or you're not sure of your next step, or you're not, how do I find my dream job? How do I find the job that's really going to be a match for me? And so that's what we're here to do. We're helped to provide you connections, resources, and hope. And I know you're going to get an infusion of all of those today. And so moving on to our next slide, what I'd like you to see is Bridget, I don't know if you know that you're our poster child. I think we might have captured this video when you were live, or this picture when you were live once, but you have been on this slide for like 2 years. so you guys, that is actually who our keynote speaker is today. I'll introduce her in a little bit. But if you could open up the chat box, it's at the bottom of your screen if you're on a laptop or a computer. And sometimes on your phone, if you're on a mobile phone, there's 3 dots and you'll see the chat box. But if you could drop in there, drop in, where you're calling us from. And then also what kind of opportunity you're looking for, or what kind of industry that you're interested in. And so go ahead and drop that in the chat so that we know where people are coming from today. And good morning, Jane and Tracy. I see you guys dropped in there. But go ahead and drop in the chat where you are. Erin, hi from Mesa. And then the other thing we're going to ask you to do today is jump out to LinkedIn and grab your LinkedIn URL. And the LinkedIn URL, and then put it into the chat. And that is a way for us to find out, connect with each other offline when we're not in an event. We know that it's difficult to network when you are, virtual so often, which feels like the last 2 years has been so virtual for most of us. And so dropping, at least trying to be able to connect outside of these events is really, really important. And so, hi, Ariana, I love the way you spell your name from Mesa. Good morning, Cherie. Surprise, Jen, Tempe. See, we have people from all over today. So great. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is when you drop your URL in, you'll want to make sure it turns blue. Blue makes it clickable. And so Joey, if you could redrop your URL in, I think it was mashed up against another word, but Jane, Liz, perfect. So if you could all connect with them on LinkedIn, connect with each other, then it really helps these events and helps you connect. All right, so moving on to our next slide. I just want to go through a couple logistics. In that chat box, please feel free to ask questions. I know we have a phenomenal keynote speaker today, and Bridget will be asking you things. She'll probably have you drop some stuff in the chat, but feel free to ask questions. She'll be monitoring the chat, we'll be monitoring it, and we'll be able to ask questions to our keynote or any of our hiring companies as well. And so go ahead and use that chat box. You can also control how the video is showing today and how you'll see the slides. And if you go to the area on your computer that has view, you'll see a lot of us will see it in the top right corner. But if you see the view and you see side-by-side speaker view, that's typically the best view for these events. And that way you'll see the slides that are up, the PowerPoint, and then you'll also see the picture of the speaker only. You can also add your screen name. Make sure your name is on your picture, your screen name. You can also add your industry to that. And at the end, around 10:30, we will be going into breakout rooms. And what that means is after you hear all the speakers today, you can go and chat with them in their breakout room. But we'll also have resume writers and LinkedIn coaches in the breakout rooms. And you'll be able to spend some time with them kind of one-on-one or in a small group setting, getting some guidance and advice. And so I highly encourage you all to stay for the breakout sessions. They're super engaging and very helpful. All right, we do have closed captioning available. And so if you would like it to utilize closed captioning, just click on the live transcript option on the bottom of your screen. And then you'll be able to use the transcription today. All right, you guys, we have a great agenda for you today. You are going to hear from Bridget McGowan, show out when you show up. And then we have 3 companies you're going to hear from. Liz from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona, Tracy from the Arizona Department of Health Services, Anna from the Entrepreneur Source. And then at 10:30, I'll just take a couple minutes to close out, show you some additional resources, and then we will be going into the breakout rooms. And the breakout rooms last about an hour after the event. So man, thank you guys. Look at everyone dropping their LinkedIn URLs in there. Please be sure to click on those LinkedIn URLs and connect with each other because it's all about networking when we're looking for great jobs. I can't tell you how many thousands of people that have come through our program have landed because somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody. So it's very important that you are networking during this time. All right. So you guys, I'm so excited to introduce my good friend. She is just, since I've gotten to know her over the years, has become a phenomenal friend and colleague. Have you ever experienced an energy that made you move to the edge of your seat or that made you stand to your feet? What about an excitement that stayed with you and had you talking about it long after an event ended? That is the best way to describe Bridget McGowan, an award-winning author, an award-winning publisher, and an award-winning international professional speaker who is known to be both comical and memorable. She will not only energize you, but she will inspire you to not let anyone or anything get in the way of you being the most unforgettable person in the room. Today, Bridget is here to share with you that you already have everything you need to show up and show out. Please welcome, virtual welcome to our good friend, Bridget McGowan.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And thank you to everybody for showing up to the session. Very excited to spend time with you. Always love spending time with Jessica and all of our good friends at Career Connectors. You are total rock stars. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Everybody, you hear the word no, you hear you're wrong, you can't do that. You hear all of those phrases more times than you care to count. And it can be hard to push through and believe you will eventually hear a yes, you're right, let's do this. Well, get ready because I am about to remind you that you always have a choice. You do. You always have a choice. You can shut down or you can show up and show out. That in those moments when you simply want to retreat and just take cover, you should not. You cannot. Because you already have every single thing you need to push through the no's, to push through the we can't do that. And how do I know this? Trust me, I do. Just sit back, relax, and trust me on this one. Now, while I realize this is a career-focused event, in order to help you truly see that you already have everything you need to show out when you show up, I have to give you a little of my personal story. And Jessica and everybody at Career Connectors will tell you, I don't typically do that. This is actually the very first time I have ever done so. I mean, really opened up about my life. But here's the thing. I don't like talking about myself, but I've got to do this because this is at the root of how I came to realize that every single one of you already has everything you need, even when it feels otherwise, when you need to show up and show out. So first, a quick 3-question pop quiz for you. We all love pop quizzes. I used to teach, so you're taking me back to my days in the classroom. Here's question number 1, 3 questions for you. Question number 1, it's not really a question, we'll call it an item. I need you to raise your left hand if you believe I grew up in an area with a population of fewer than 6,000 residents, or raise your right hand if you believe I am from a medium-sized city with a population of more than 100,000. 6,000 for left, 100,000 for right. All right. Next, I need you to look to your left if you believe I was raised as an only child. Look to your right if you believe I have at least one sibling. Left, only child. Right, okay, one sibling. All right, and then the last question. This one's a 3-parter. Point to your left if you believe I have family that has nothing to do with me. Point up to the sky if you believe I have family that thinks very highly of me. Or point to your right if you believe I choose to have nothing to do with family. Okay, all right. So here we go. Here are the answers. Are you ready? You are all correct. Whether you chose one or the other or the third, you are all absolutely correct. Now, how can that be? I grew up in a rural area with a population of fewer than 6,000 residents, but I am originally from a medium-sized city with a population of more than 100,000 people. I was raised as an only child, but I have one sibling. I have family that has nothing to do with me. I also have family that thinks very highly of me, and I choose to have nothing to do with family outside of my husband and my son. Now, I know you're wondering, how is that possible that all of that is correct? Well, you all know life can be complicated. If you want to know how that's possible, that every one of you was correct, give me some jazz hands, lean back and say, oh yeah. Yeah. Perfect, because by the time we're done, you're going to know all of that. But most importantly, you will know why you already have everything you need, despite what your past may say, to show up and show out. My name is Bridget McGowan. I help professionals be the most engaging, dynamic, incredible communicators ever. Question, have you ever heard of the 40% rule? I came upon it in a book entitled Can't Hurt Me. It's written by David Goggins, a New York Times bestseller. As a matter of fact, I think I was putting it on my shelf earlier. Can't Hurt Me. And he writes about the 40% rule. He writes that most of us give up when we've only given about 40% of our maximum effort. Even when we feel like we have reached our absolute limit, he indicates we still have another 60% to give. And the thing is, once you know that to be true, that there's more inside of you, it is simply a matter of stretching your pain tolerance, letting go of all your self-limiting stories so you can get to 60%, then 80%, then 100%. So are you adhering to the 40% rule? Or are you pushing yourself to the limit, knowing no bounds? Let's explore that. I loved school. I'm talking about loved school. Here's how much I loved it. I got so sad when it was time for spring break, or we called it Christmas break back in the day. I think they call it holiday breaks, whatever. I was so sad when I knew there was going to be this prolonged break in school. Come the month of May, I am just entering into a depression. And I loved words, anything having to do with words. To this day, clever marketing pieces always get my attention. Case in point, I've taken up bike riding over the last year or so, and on my 2021 Christmas wish list was this baby. I wanted this t-shirt and I got it, right? This psychologist t-shirt, I wear it with pride. And while other children wanted chips and candy at the grocery store checkout line, I wanted a book, a crossword puzzle, or a tablet of Mad Libs. I'm telling you, I love words. I'm constantly reading my world around me, even as an adult. I don't stop. And this comes in incredibly handy since I've had points in my career when I travel a lot. I quickly learned if you're constantly reading your world and staying ahead of the game, then it's harder to be taken as a victim. Instead, I am taken for a flight attendant. And usually because I am wearing a black dress or navy blue suit, and I've got a black suitcase with me, that doesn't help, but I digress. As an award-winning international professional speaker, I've seen more airports, Uber cars, hotel rooms than you can count, and I've eaten more dry, flavorless grilled chicken sandwiches, compliments of hotel room service, than I care to recall. Those chicken sandwiches are a far cry from the Southern food to which I became accustomed growing up in Livingston, Texas, population 5,019 when I lived there. It's grown to a whopping 5,115. Here's the deal. I have to be honest. I didn't like it there because I never seemed to fit in. Great place, great people, friendly. Everybody knows everybody and everybody's business, but that's another story. I never seemed to fit in, and I couldn't figure out from whence my love for school came, considering my father barely eked by to graduate high school. And then there was my mother. She dropped out of school right around the 3rd grade. So it was definitely strange. I had no interest in hanging around beyond my high school graduation date, to be frank with you. I regularly viewed my birthdays as a countdown to getting out of Dodge. I attended college, majored in communications, surprise, surprise. Why reinvent the wheel, right? Like to read, like to write, love to talk. All of my report cards in Livingston contained the talks too much notation on them. If only those teachers could see me now. Huh. So it just made sense that I would move on into this career. I went on to get a master's degree, attended a 1.5 years of law school, all in Texas, worked on a couple of PhDs, and decided the love for school just was not going to go away. Hence, I taught at 3 different colleges and universities before taking on the role of being a faculty development consultant in 2009 for an educational technology company. Now, don't go getting all impressed. That's just fancy talk for I made presentations at a lot of colleges and universities for a textbook turned ebook company. I had a territory of 13 states in the western region of the US, which is what necessitated the move from Texas out west. We could pick any spot, but Phoenix is where we landed. We liked it. It was affordable at the time, another story. And the people were super awesome. When I had that position, though, I would tell people in short, I teach professors how to teach. That's how I explained what I did, because I can't remember my title. I think it was faculty development consultant. What is that? Tell me what you do. So that's what I told people. I teach professors how to teach. And that's exactly what I did. I remember one time rolling up to a workshop at a California college. Matter of fact, I think it was January of one year. I got ready to facilitate a workshop on classroom management techniques, probably around 2010. And I had a professor say, excuse me, what can you tell me about teaching on the college level? I mean, I've got food in my refrigerator that's older than you. Yo, dude, take a seat and find out. No, I didn't tell him that. I actually told him, give me 10 minutes. And if you do not find value in those first 10 minutes, then I will not be offended if you get up and leave. He ended up staying for the entire 3-hour workshop and even chatted with me afterwards. Many changes happened with that ed tech company, and one of those changes resulted in my team, the entire team, being let go over the course of 9 months between the summer of 2015 and the spring of 2016. And once I received my pink slip, I resorted to doing what I'd always done and what I loved, eating. No, speaking. And I started my public speaking firm. But here's the deal. At that ed tech company, I was living by the 40% rule. That's what I was doing. I had everything I needed to give 100%, but I did not realize it at the time. And it was not until getting laid off did I realize I was falling short with uplifting and shining the light on myself and my unique talents, my brand. When it came to shining the light 100%, I did it only for the company. I did it for the brand, the mission, and the vision of others in that company when I could have been doing both. I could have been shining the light on both of us. I should have been shining the light. So here's our lesson. Shine the light on yourself and live beyond the 40% rule. That way, you will see you already have everything you need to show out when you show up. So number one, I want you to figure out what it is that you are naturally good at and push it to the limit. This is what I call your zone of genius. Push it to the limit. Number two, respond to criticism only when necessary, if at all. And number three, acknowledge that you are far more than just anything. We're going to focus on each one of those in a little bit more depth right now. So figure out what is that thing that is your jam. Everybody has a genius. Everybody has a zone of genius. You'll have people say, oh, you have a degree in X? Well, that explains why you're able to. No, it doesn't. Oh, you're from XYZ? Well, that's how. No, it's not. Oh, you are an only child? Well, in that case, you're probably, what? Avoid using labels and avoid accepting labels. There's no one single factor that dictates who you are or why you have certain talents or abilities or geniuses. It's because that's who you are, period. With a T at the end of period. Everyone has a genius, you included, a talent or an ability that simply comes naturally with very little effort. Identify your genius and own it. And when you're approached with questions such as, where did you go to school? Or what kind of work do you do? From somebody who's trying to figure out why you're so amazing, proudly state, put your hands on your hips, proudly state, that is simply who I am, boo. I do that really well because that's who I am. That's how I roll. What is your genius? Post it to the chat. What is your genius? What can you perform incredibly well? What can you do better than most with little to no effort? That is your genius. Name it, own it, and push it. Push it to the limit. Push it beyond 40%, beyond 60, beyond 80. And when I say push it, ask yourself, what's the next level with this? How do I get out of my comfort zone and show this is my zone of genius? How do I demonstrate I am an expert in this? Is it speaking at conferences? Is it blogging? Is it authoring a book? Is it consulting others on how to perform the service? What is the next step to fully own and demonstrate your genius? And because you have a genius, I want you to respond to criticism only when necessary, if at all. Breathe no life into negativity. You see, confident people first listen to criticism to discern whether it's constructive or if it's just a bunch of gobbledygook. If it is constructive, then they accept it, possibly saying, oh, okay, thanks, I'll take that under advisement. But if it's not constructive, then the criticism has no relevance to them or their zone of genius. For instance, have you ever watched one of those house hunting shows and you notice what the realtor does when the house hunter criticizes a feature of the house? Like, oh my gosh, these fixtures are a mess. Oh, we're going to have to rip out that wallpaper. You ever notice what the realtor does? The confident realtor doesn't say anything. The confident realtor offers no response and either moves on with the showing turns their attention to another feature, or just takes the house hunter to another house. The goal here is to breathe no life into the negativity. Breathe no life into the negativity. That's your charge today and on. Or if you see a weightlifting champion and you say to her, "You look weak," what response do you think she's going to give you? I mean, if she doesn't bust you in your mouth, okay, she's not going to say anything because she already knows. She knows, she's confident, and that what you're saying has no relevance, has no bearing on her. She knows she's a winner, and there's little anyone can say to criticize her zone of genius. And because you have a zone of genius, I want you to know that you're far more than just anything. When faced with a challenge, some people offer excuses for why they cannot rise to the occasion, which frequently involves them identifying themselves as just the secretary or just a sales rep. Listen, no one is ever just anything. If you're the receptionist, say that's who you are. If you're the account manager, sales rep, then clarify that, omitting the just. When you use just, you minimize not only your position, but you minimize you. You minimize the work you do and your overall image and significance. So no matter who you are, what you do, or where you go, you are far more than just anything. Show out when you show up, because you already have everything you need to get to 100%. You have everything you need. You simply need to ensure you work to uplift and shine the light on yourself and your talents, your brand, your zone of genius 100% of the time at 100% capacity. Now, as the owner of my speaking firm, my own speaking firm, I have to ensure I remain relevant and that I'm constantly putting myself on stages. And one such instance was in May of 2018, when I submitted a proposal to present at a conference in San Diego, where more than 12,000 participants were going to be in attendance from all around the world. Now, I'd like to think they were coming in droves over the anticipation of me possibly being on the program, but no dice. I was up against another speaker, President Barack Obama. But it wasn't, true story, it wasn't an easy road getting accepted to present at this international conference. You see, my proposal had not yet been accepted. I was not on the program. As is the case with many organizations, not only is there an international arm to the association, but there are also these local chapters, you know. So I submitted a proposal to present for the local chapters conference here in Arizona, just knowing I would get accepted. Yeah, you already know where I'm going with this. Yeah, right. When I received the rejection email, my response was, are you kidding me? Now, not to sound egotistical, but to sound totally egotistical. Are you kidding me? My proposals always get accepted. What you talking about, Willis? But my concern was further compounded because I had submitted almost verbatim the exact same proposal to the international conference. So you already know what this meant. If I was not good enough for Arizona, then how in the world was I going to be good enough for the international conference taking place in San Diego? OM gravy. But I was wrong. The proposal was accepted. I had put in the proposal everything I needed to put in it. I had shown up and shown out. The proposal had everything it needed. I simply needed to ensure I was putting it in front of the right audience. So everybody, put yourself in front of the right audiences. Then show out when you show up. put yourself on the radars of the people you know will talk about you in the right way when you are not in the room. Put yourself in the midst of those who know your value, who know your worth, to whom you do not have to sell yourself because they already know you are more precious than platinum. That means showing up with the kind of energy you want and need people to recognize in you. That means doing 3 specific things on a regular basis because you never know who's looking. And because people are always looking, whether you like it or not, let's give them something worth looking at. Amen. Put on a show and tell them it's not the coffee, it's the confidence. Number 1, I want you to know, act, and believe that where there is a will, you might not see it right now, and that's okay. You just have the wrong glasses. You have the wrong prescription in those lenses. Where there is a will, there is always a way. Don't be down. Don't be out about your circumstances because things can turn around. Number 2, I want you to walk that walk. Head up, shoulders back, eyes laser focused no matter what's going on. And then number 3, show up and show out as the absolute best version of yourself. Now, with knowing that there's always a will and always a way, that's hard to believe sometimes. But I need you to have an attitude about you that says there's no stopping you. When people come and say, no, that's not possible, we can't do that, your response is, yes, we'll figure it out. Let's do this. A quick story. A young man was imprisoned for a crime that he did not commit, and he received a letter from his aging father who lived on a farm. And the letter read, "Son, this year I am unable to plant anything in the fields because my strength has left me. I'm too sick, too old, and I cannot dig the ground. But I know if you were here, you would help me." The son sends his father the most interesting letter. It starts off with, "You idiot, Dad. Do not dig the land. Haven't I told you that I have hidden the guns in different places on the farm?" Now, of course, the prison staff inspects all mail coming and going, and they turned this letter over to the local authorities. And the next day, the ground was dug up by the local police who searched for guns everywhere, but they found nothing. So the son writes again, "Hey, Dad, now the ground has been dug up and you can plant your vegetables. I did the best I could from here. I love you." So where there is a will, there is always a way, even in cases when you cannot see it. It's not right in front of you when it seems impossible. So when you hear a no, adjust and insist. Your brain goes to a yes. We'll figure it out. Let's do this. Next, I need you to walk that walk. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite activities for building confidence. You have just a few seconds, 7 to 10 seconds, according to many sources. One of them is Sylvie D'Augusto in her book, The Image of Leadership. Great book. So you have just a few seconds to make an impression on a person, and how you walk into a room is part of that judgment. Fairly or unfairly, they just do it. I want your shoulders back. I want your head up. I want your eyes laser focused and a friendly but confident smile on your face, because it sends a message to everybody, quote unquote, listening and watching that you know you're somebody. You are somebody and you know it. You want to be that person who looks as if you are on your way to fly a jet as you walk through the airport. The only giveaway that you're not the pilot is the fact you're wearing sweats and a t-shirt instead of a captain's uniform. And oh, by the way, you ended up seated in A12, but you get my point. You get my point. One of my favorite techniques is this one, to work on that confidence and how you walk into a room. Matter of fact, how you walk into a room. I want you to listen to a song that's silently playing in your head, that song that makes you feel like $1,000,000,000. Put in the chat for me the title of your favorite song, the one that just lights you up. Maybe it's the one you play every morning as you're getting dressed. Maybe it's the first one on your playlist when you hit the gym. Whatever it is, I know Career Connectors plays a couple of them that I love. And one of them is I Want to See You Be Brave, right? Put in the chat that song that just makes you feel on top of the world. Baby, yes, baby, you're a fireworks. Yes, I think that's one that Career Connectors plays too. Overcomer. Rocky is always motivating. Yes, yes, yes. I Am Woman. Yes. That song, I want you, every time you go somewhere, I want you to play that song in your head. And as you're playing that song in your head, I want you to walk to the beat of it. Take measured and deliberate strides while looking straight ahead, not looking at anybody in particular. Now, don't move too fast. Don't look like you're in a hurry, because that makes you, that shaves off some of the confidence. But don't look like you have all day to get where you're going. That's like me and my husband. I look like the rabbit. He looks like the tortoise. I mean, he's always just cruising. He's so cool. And then he puts on those shades of his aviator shades. Oh my goodness. So smooth. I guess that's what drew me into him. But don't move too slow like you've got all day. As a matter of fact, I want you to think about the gait of a model on a catwalk. You want to go at about that pace, That's the speed that you want. And not only do you look and feel unstoppable when you're walking to that beat, and then that song is just jazzing you up, but others will see and know you are unstoppable. Do this no matter where you are, what you are wearing, where you are going. And the best part is you will eventually get to the point where you don't need a song in your head. You don't, or you can have any song in your head. It could be the last one you heard in the car. Chicken Fried, Zach Brown Band, Second Wind, Survivor. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Oh, I wish I could sing. I Will Survive, Thrift Shop, God's Great Dance Floor, September. Do you remember? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So you'll get to a point where you just have that confident stride no matter what's going on. And it simply becomes a natural part of how you move and show up in the world. So everybody sees it. And that walk is the foundation of number 3, which is showing up as the absolute best version of yourself. Have you seen those people who always just seem to be on? Or what about those people who just always have this dynamic energy, and you're wondering how many cups of coffee they've had for the day? Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Listen, once again, a cup of Java has nothing to do with it, nothing. But being on does. Let me tell you a secret about those people. They know when it is absolutely necessary to be engaging. They know when they must be as interesting as possible. And in those moments, they put forth the very best versions of themselves, knowing that if they want to be memorable, then they must be unforgettable. To be anything less when in the presence of others is a disservice to themselves and those around them. And they say to themselves, their attitude, their mantra is, why show up in life if I do not plan on being amazing? So most people who adopt this philosophy are not on 24/7, but they are on when it matters most. And when they are in the midst of others is one of the times when it matters most. Even when you do not feel on top of the world, if you're in a situation where it is most advantageous that you do indeed put your best foot forward, I need you to shift gears, recalibrate, then rise and sizzle. Yes, I know that sometimes you simply are not feeling it. Been there, done that. Dig deep and find a source within you to push through. If this is a possible make or break opportunity, remember what you do for what is only a short period of time right now can make a huge difference for far longer at some point in your future. Always ask yourself, how do I want to be remembered? The options are to be remembered as someone who is common and unexceptional, or someone who is confident and unshakable. In other words, I want you to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. A company posted a job position for a telegraph operator. A couple of days later, 10 applicants were waiting in this really big, noisy hall in front of the personnel manager's office. And they're all waiting for a turn at this job interview. Now, a young lady was among them, and like everybody else, she filled out the form that she was given upon arrival, and she sat down to wait. She saw a lot of people coming and going throughout the office. She heard a telegraph clacking away in the background. A couple of minutes later, the woman stood up and went across the room. She walked to the door of the hiring manager's office and knocked on the door and then walked right in. Now, all the other applicants are sitting there shocked, confused. What's going on? And they talked amongst themselves, agreeing that, you know what, this lady is completely out of line. So about 10 minutes pass and the woman comes out of the office and she's escorted by the personnel manager, the hiring manager, who made this announcement. Thank you all for coming. The position has just been filled. The applicants were in an uproar nearly. I mean, they're confused. And one man spoke up. He says, whoa. What? We don't understand this. All of us have been waiting here much longer than she's been here, but we never had a chance to interview. What's going on? And the manager replied, yes, indeed, all of you have been sitting here for more than an hour. I get that. And all this time, that telegraph has been ticking out one message. Dear applicant, come right in so we can start the interview. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Stay ready. Be on at all the right times. Think of yourself in those terms that you are unstoppable and unshakable. You see, when you start to think of yourself in those terms, believing in yourself that no one does what you do the way you do it, and when you are on at all the right times, you will also be perceived by others as being more confident and competent. You will be perceived as being someone who has everything you need to get the job done. And this was something I had to learn with a quickness. I am not sure how, when, or why, but I do not remember a time when I did not have this kind of approach. I'm telling you, I have been broke as a joke, busted and disgusted, but still suited and booted, walking around like I've got $1 billion in the bank, and no one's the wiser. And as I'm walking that walk, cruising through the exhibit hall in San Diego at the convention center, on my way to the speaker ready room, with a little more than 2 hours before my presentation in May of 2018, I read the name of a familiar name on a name badge. And I am just thinking, you know me, constantly reading my world. And I say to myself, could that be who I think it is? No. But it's such a unique name. Wait a minute, should I say something to him? No. You've got a presentation coming up. You need to be focused. If he is who you think he is, and you are 99% he is who you think he is, if he is who you think he is, talking to him is going to turn your world upside down. You're going to be completely derailed. You can't afford that. You have to be mentally ready and on your game come showtime at 3 p.m. You've got to be ready to bring it, girl. And this conversation is taking place at warp speed in my head. So, I finally say, girl, go do it. Just go do it, because if you don't, you're going to be upset when you get on that plane tomorrow thinking, what if? So I turn and I trot to catch up with the man who's wearing the name badge that caught my attention. And I ask him, excuse me, do you live in Beaumont, Texas? He says, no, but I grew up there. I go on. Do you have a sister who lives in Alaska? He's slightly taken aback, rightfully so, but he slowly and quizzically answers, yes. Okay, I am on the verge of having a total panic attack, people. I mean, my legs are jello. My stomach Is it not? My heart is racing. I take a breath and I go on. Do I look like anyone you know? He looks at me and pauses. Nothing immediately comes to mind. At this point, I speak again because it's obvious he's totally at a loss here, okay? And so I tell him, I am your niece. His mouth drops and it hits him. He is looking at me and it all comes together. I look like his sister in Alaska and I look like her because she is my biological mother. In Livingston, I never fit in, and a chance reuniting with someone from my childhood that led to her visiting my home just days before Christmas in 2006 confirmed why I never fit in when she told me I was the family secret. I was the adoptive family secret. You see, the entire McGowan family knew I was adopted, but everyone had been sworn to secrecy. And that's a whole other story as to how and why that could even happen. You see, you have to understand, in some communities, during certain times, things is just different. Don't try to ding me on that grammatical error. It's totally intentional. Christmas was on a Monday in 2006, and I could not wait for Tuesday to come so I could return crappy gifts I'd received the day before. No, so I could let my fingers do the walking. The minute 8 a.m. struck, I commenced to calling every single adoption agency in Beaumont because that was the city listed on my birth certificate as my place of birth. And I finally spoke with a woman by the name of Gwen after about call number 3 or 4, who come to find out personally handled my adoption decades before. Fast forward 7 months to July 2007, I finally got up the courage to call my biological mother. And my goodness, it was like talking to my twin. I finally could tell from whence I got my bad attitude. So I grew up in a rural area, Livingston, Texas, with a population of fewer than 6,000 residents. But I am originally from and have biological family in the medium-sized city of Beaumont, Texas, with a population of a little over 118,000. I was raised as an only child. However, after learning about the adoption, I do have one sibling who is 3 years my junior, married, and he and his wife have 2 daughters. My biological family, aside from the uncle I met in May of 2018 out in San Diego, has nothing to do with me. The family does not even know I exist. And I am in touch with no family, biological or adoptive, with the exception of the uncle who thinks very highly of me, and occasionally my mother. We haven't talked in 2 or 3 years now. After the knockdown, drag out, blow up I had with my adoptive family in December 2006, when I called them and said, I need to come talk with you. I arrive and I am called everything but a child of God after asking why they lied to me about the adoption, even when I point blank asked them about it at the age of 13. And let me tell you, to tell parents, any parent, that he or she is a liar, even if it's true, is never cool. I get it. Their anger in that moment came from feeling betrayed. I get it. How dare I go in search of the truth to then come back and throw it in their faces? Why am I rocking the boat? They were doing what they had been told would be in my best interest, which was to tell me nothing of the adoption. So why was I digging for anything, especially when they, in their minds, had given me the foundation to get where I was in life? But if the truth be told, and I believe in telling it, what they believed was giving me a lot did not even scratch the surface. There was abuse, it was all around sadness, and it is not by accident or simply because of the adoption revelation that I can so easily turn my back on that life and never look back. There's nothing there. There was no nurturing, no growth, no support. I could have just as easily raised myself. And let's be clear, this is not anger, bitterness, or frustration speaking. It is the actual factual. It was at that point I decided to have nothing to do with my adoptive family. There's a lot more to the story. It was at that point I felt free to be free to figure out how to live the life I wanted to live, because I've been living a life that I thought they wanted me to live. And I'm still figuring that out, free to show up and how I want to show up, free to figure out who was me. And I'm still working on that too. Talk to any adoptee and they will tell you, after growing up in a genetically strange environment, and that's what it is. Nobody looks like you, acts like you, talks like you. Growing up in a genetically strange environment, you have no idea who you are, no matter how much others try to convince you otherwise. So you see, even as a child of a mother who never laid eyes on me, who has never touched me, who has yet to meet me, who never breathed a word about me to anyone, who did not even acknowledge my existence, I still have everything I need to show out when I show up. And you do too. You simply need to show up in the world in a way that makes it clear to everyone else that you know. You always have a choice. You can shut down or you can show up. You can stay stuck or you can show out. You can let things happen or you can make things happen. You can see the mess or you can find the best. You always have a choice. And let me show you what I mean. A family has a set of twins. One child is super optimistic. I'm talking about waking up every day. Today's going to be a great day. While the other twin was a constant pessimist and would frequently say, oh, what an awful day. So their parents were concerned about this extreme difference in their attitudes and their outlooks on life. I mean, yeah, we know they're going to be different. Just because they're twins doesn't mean they're carbon copies of each other. But they were just kind of like, oh, what's going on here? So they contacted a psychologist to examine their children. And the doctor suggested an experiment that would give her the opportunity to study their personalities. She tells the parents, next week on their birthday, put the twins in separate rooms and give each one a gift. To the pessimistic child, give a huge box filled with the best toys you can afford. And then to the optimistic child, give a box of manure. So the parents follow her instructions to a T. And on the twins' birthday, each twin was in his room with a box. And so the doctor and the parents wait outside. And they heard the pessimistic twin audibly complaining, the color of this iPad sucks. This game is boring. I didn't want a model train. I wanted a plane. I mean, just on and on and on. Really? And then the parents and the doctor decide to peek in on the optimistic twin. They heard him just a giggling and going on, and then they see him gleefully throwing the manure up in the air. He says, you can't fool me with all of this manure here. There's got to be a pony somewhere around. Sometimes being optimistic is the only thing you can do in the moment, no matter what circumstances present. Make lemonade out of lemons and Kool-Aid out of Pop Rocks, okay? Because you already have everything you need to show out when you show up. You do, because here's the deal. If you show out when you show up, you are working on the answer while everybody else is trying to figure out what was the question. If you show out when you show up, you don't just focus on what went wrong, what messed up, what happened in the past, and how you've always done things. You learn from the past and focus on what you can do differently going forward. When you show up and show out, you do not worry about or dwell on the missteps. You recognize the misstep. You recalculate, adjust, and keep it moving. If you show out when you show up, you do not concern yourself with what everybody else has going on. You learn from others, pay keen attention to what you want to get done, and then you make it happen. If you show out when you show up, you move in silence and wow the crowd. If you show out when you show up, you know, you don't have to be the loudest one in the room to be the fiercest one in the room. If you show out when you show up, you, number one, find what you are naturally good at and you push it to the limit. As a matter of fact, you see no limits. You give everything 100%. If you show out when you show up, you respond to criticism only when necessary, if at all. If you show out when you show up, you acknowledge that no matter who you are, what you do, where you go, you are far more than just anything. If you show out when you show up, you know where there is a will, there is a way. You walk that walk and you show up as the very best version of yourself at all times, because you already have everything you need to show out when you show up. Now, all you have to do is get out there and crush it. Thank you.
Awesome, Bridget. We love you so much.
Love you too.
Thank you so much for being here. So many great words in the chat and comments. I just love, first of all, I love your faces. I did make a post on Instagram of the faces of Bridget. So you can see that when we get off, but your stories, thank you for sharing a piece of your heart today. And, you know, when people are a lot of times going through career transition, it can be tough, but thank you for being so relatable and really inspiring all of us, me included, to just kind of show up and show our best. So thank you for spending your time with us today.
You are so welcome. Thank you, Jessica, for the opportunity. You know, I love telling the story of how you met me and you asked me to speak. And I was like, she doesn't even know I don't have a job. I just lost my job. I don't know. How am I going to talk to folks about being in career transition? I'm trying to transition myself. I don't know what I'm going to, right? But you didn't even know. And I just love telling people that story.
Yes.
Thank you to everybody. You were amazing. Thank you for being so engaged in the chat. And listen, visit connectwithb.com to just find me on all my social media platforms, and just so we can talk more and just uplift each other more. So all the best to you. Make it a great year. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. And if you would like to chat with Bridget, she will be here at the breakout room at 10:30. So thanks again. All right, we are going to move on now to our hiring companies. And Liz Carrion is with us first. She is the manager of talent acquisition at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona. And as a manager at Blue, Liz supports the recruitment team that helps find talent, which inspires health in the lives of Arizonans. Liz received her bachelor's degree in HR management in May of 2020 from Ashford University. Congratulations, Liz. That's awesome. Liz has over 16 years of HR related experience, 9 of those with talent acquisition. And using this experience, Liz and the team help match people to careers, not just jobs. In addition to being a manager, she takes to heart the mission of Blue and lives the sweaty life. She enjoys working out regularly, and you may catch her at a local sporting event, running around the streets of Metro Phoenix, like literally running, paddleboarding, hiking, or at one of her 3 children's school and sporting events. So good morning, Liz, and welcome to our call today.
Good morning. Thank you so much for inviting us to participate, Bridget. That was awesome. I'm scared to follow you. I had to walk out and walk back into my own song just to get pumped up. But thank you so much. It was a great message. So like Jessica said, I am the manager of talent acquisition for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona. If we can go to the next slide. Our mission is to inspire health and make it easy. So not just for our customers, but for our employees. As you can see in this slide, we serve over 1.7 million customers throughout the state of Arizona. We're in every county. We just recently acquired a Medicaid space. So now we have Medicaid, Medicare, individual, commercial. We service our federal employees across the state of Arizona. So we're in pretty much every line of business that we can be, really serving our community throughout the state of Arizona with insurance plans. Next slide. And then this is just a little bit of our diversity I wanted to share. I thought it was really important. So as you can see, we have different representations across our organization. We really value diversity in our organization. We respect everybody's backgrounds and what they bring to the organization as well. So we we're just starting to create a DE&I council. So that's very exciting for us and different employee groups across the organization as well. So we're excited to get those lifted up and make sure our employees feel supported in the different groups as well. You can see some of our great awards that we've been able to be awarded throughout the last couple of years. And I always think this is really impressive because a lot of these awards were presented to us during COVID. And it's a great example of how the organization really inspires health, and not just in the community, but for our employees as well. So when COVID hit, we transitioned 97% of our staff to work remotely. We only had that small 3%, and that was mostly our security guards, just protecting our assets still, protecting our buildings, and then some IT employees as well that we still needed their support on site to help us as the others were working remotely as well. We still continue to work remotely, but I like to always highlight that because that's very impressive. In just a short number of weeks, I think like 2 weeks, we had that 97% working from home. And that really just shows how much care that the organization has for our employees to make sure that they were able to work from home, be safe, take care of their kids or any, parents, things like that, that might be high risk as well, and try to keep them as safe as possible through this time. Next slide, thank you. And then we have our Mobilize Az. So even throughout COVID, we've had an opportunity to really help the community with 3 of the high level areas that we've called out here. So substance abuse disorder, mental health, and diabetes. Mobilize Az is free, and it's not just to our customers, it's for the community. So you or anyone can go to that link below, mobilizeaz.com, and find resources to help support you or anyone that you might know in these 3 areas. We also give our employees 8 hours of community service time to help support these 3 areas. The last couple of years, they've bumped that up to about 16, and it included vaccination sites as well. So we're able to volunteer at vaccination sites and things like that as well to really help support the health of the community. And then this is kind of a duplicate, but I wanted to really capture the picture of us working from home. That's what our current environment looks like for a lot of us. And again, just being able to help our employees be healthy. We know that some employees have kids that are doing online school still, or maybe they're traveling back and forth, dropping off and picking up. We've really transitioned a lot of our benefits. So when our offices are open, we have a gym that's on site. We have a full-blown cafeteria that has a lot of healthy eating options. So we've transitioned those remotely. We do Zoom classes, Zoom fitness classes, and we encourage employees to invite their families and their kids. We do cooking classes that are focused with children too, just to help our employees get a time out and really enjoy their time right now while they have it at home with their family. So I always think that's a nice picture to highlight there, because that's what it looks like for a lot of us working from home right now. And then what we're looking for Blue is commitment. We don't want somebody that's just looking for a job, but really somebody that's looking for a career that can stand behind our motto, because a lot of organizations have the same benefits, have the same compensation, things like that. But if you can stand behind our mission about making Arizona healthier, and really support that both personally and professionally, I think you'll find your work here at Blue very rewarding. I started as a contractor and got promoted from within. So it's a great opportunity for growth here. We also want somebody that we can invest in. If you're looking for, to continue your degree, I participated in the tuition reimbursement program myself for my degree. It's a great opportunity, if that's something that you're looking for to move up both personally and professionally and get that next job or that next role that you have in mind. We definitely have programs here in place for you to continue that work. And then some of our benefits here, of course, we have medical, dental, vision. I would like to say that our benefits are better than others, just being a little biased since we are, of course, a health insurance provider. But we also have other things in place like financial well-being, legal. We have the healthy campus, like I mentioned, when our offices are open. And then some of the additional perks are, like I mentioned, the dietitian, which right now is virtual. We have a nutritionalist, we have fitness coaches. We also have in the office different bevy machines that you can create your own drinking combinations as well, located throughout the campus. We have mindful rooms, so you can schedule those and take a break and just reset and come back refreshed to do the rest of your work as well. Thank you. Next slide. Some of our positions, our customer service role is our entry-level position, but we have right now this morning, I'm looking at our job board, we have 79 positions posted. Some of those we have multiple openings. So truly we have about 110 openings right now that we're actively recruiting for. And they range from anywhere from financial, IT, clinical. We also have some procurement positions, and then we just launched our internship program for summer. So if you or anyone you know is a student and looking for a summer internship, definitely encourage you to go to our website. If you want to go to the next slide, it has some of our information there. And if you don't see an opening that is right for you right now, you can sign up for alerts. Encourage you to connect with me on LinkedIn as well, and just keep that line of communication open. Even if it's not with Blue, just creating that network could offer another opportunity for you as well. And then if you're interested, we do have a chat bot on our career page. It's in the bottom right-hand corner. You can click on that and request to speak to a recruiter, and we'd get you connected with somebody so you can have a more in-depth conversation with one of our team members and talk about the different openings that we have, what might be a good fit, things like that.
Fantastic.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much again. I look forward to speaking to some of you during the breakout sessions.
Awesome, fantastic. Thank you, Liz. Well done. We appreciate you guys being here today. Lots of great opportunities, it looks like, at Blue Cross Blue Shield. All right, we are going to now move over to Tracy Outlaw with the Arizona Department of Health Services. Having worked in industries ranging from the US federal government to international non-governmental organizations in Africa and Asia for 14 years, Tracy has had the unique opportunity to use her experiences in various companies in diverse environments. She moved to Phoenix in 2013 and is currently a talent and acquisition business partner for the state of Arizona Department of Health Services. And in her spare time, she is a volunteer for the USO, a private organization which strengthens America's military service members by keeping them connected to family, home, and country through their service to this nation. Tracy also enjoys volunteering for the Mission Continues, a national organization whose mission is to connect veterans with under-resourced communities. She's also part of CCV's Midtown campus, and she enjoys hiking. So please help me welcome Tracy Outlaw.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. And like many of you who have joined this presentation today, I have also been a former job seeker with Career Connectors and went to many events, which is how I first met Jessica. So I highly recommend that you take advantage of the professional services that are offered in terms of resume writing and your LinkedIn profile. Highly recommend. Okay, so I've been working at the Department of Health Services since June of this year, and I started out in recruiting. And just to give you all a little bit more about my background, previously I had been working with nonprofits for several years here in Phoenix, and then I decided I wanted to focus on more of the strengths, or as Bridget kept saying, finding your jam. And I realized that was more in terms of connecting with people, with new hires, helping people identify, the right job, the sort of, right work environment based on their strengths, their skills, everything that they bring to the table that's going to make them feel great and successful in that position. And that's when I started. my career in human resources. And I started out as a recruiter, and that's what I really enjoy, and those are definitely some of my strong suits. Next slide. So if any of you are familiar with the state of Arizona, we have over 130 different state agencies. And so it's everything from, the legislative branch to judicial. There's also Department of Health Services where I'm located, and that also includes the Arizona State Hospital. There's water resources, there's revenue, parks and trails. There's also the Capitol Museum. If none of you have ever visited the Capitol Museum, I also highly recommend. They have a lot of great items that are made here in Arizona. And of course, there's the Department of Administration, which is, as we fondly refer to as the mothership of all of these state agencies. There are more than 1,700 different types of career opportunities. And so the great thing about this is, even though you may start out in one position with a state agency, as soon as you see something else available, you can also apply for another position. And I have met people, for example, I'm working with a hiring manager right now who has been with the Department of Health Services for 20 years. Granted, this person is now in an assistant director position to the Department of Health Services, but she has had a long and productive and just flourishing career in working with this state agency. And I've met many people who've, in my short time here, who have said, oh yeah, I've been here for 15 years or 20 years. And it's just quite incredible to see that. And on a regular basis, I work with, when I'm working with hiring managers and their candidates applying for positions that are open at our agency, many of them are transferring from other state agencies, which is great. Next slide. And so our mission is to promote, protect, and improve the health and wellness of individuals and communities in Arizona. Essentially, health and wellness for all Arizonans. And this encompasses so many areas. As I mentioned, the Arizona State Hospital, that's located near 24th and Van Buren. There are over 1,000 employees there who are working with, various community members, even though some of them may be there for court order treatment. There's also a civil hospital. We have over 42 trauma hospitals in the state of Arizona. There are so many different types of programs. Next slide, please. That are available to members of the community. For example, we have licensing, which includes child care licensing facilities, long-term care licensing, vital records. That's where you find all of the, or where you can get all of the adoption statements, where you can also have birth certificates, anything that's vital to an individual's life. We also have planning and operations, human resources, that's where I am. There are financial services, information technology, business intelligence is also in that area. We have preparedness, which is epidemiology and disease control. Of course, a lot has happened in the past 2 years. We've even partnered with Blue Cross Blue Shield on many occasions. And just as a side note, one of the health insurance carriers, and we'll talk about benefits in a few more slides, but one of our options is Blue Cross Blue Shield or United Healthcare. So back to preparedness, we have the epidemiology, we have the state laboratory, for example. Many of the newborn screenings which is a blood test to determine if a child may have any other diseases that can be treated immediately, so that child is referred to the appropriate specialist. That's done at our state laboratory, emergency and medical services, in our trauma system. We have and work with many of the ambulance providers, simply because there's data which is compiled in various databases, which we also need access to. We have our prevention program. So for example, there are many different types of federally funded grant programs in this area, such as the Healthy People, Healthy Communities, women's and children's health, chronic diseases, etc. Next slide. So for example, some of our positions that we have open right now at the state hospital, and there are definitely more than what I've included here, but a medical assistant, always searching for medical assistants, and this is the starting range, 15 to 19 an hour. You do have to have a certification. Psychiatric nurses, we definitely have a strong need for those. As you can see, there is a $5,000 sign-on bonus for this position, plus a 10% temporary stipend on top of the base pay. And you need to have a current Arizona license for that. Security officer, we always have a strong need for those. And for all of the positions at the state hospital, you need to have a level 1 fingerprint clearance card. And if any of you have not driven by the state hospital, it's near 24th and Van Buren. It's situated on 93 acres of land. So that's a pretty large space, and there are multiple buildings that are there. There's also, like I mentioned, a civil hospital as well as a forensic hospital. And we're also hiring for behavioral health technician positions, as well as rehabilitation positions. And I believe I even saw an opening for a chaplain at our state hospital. Next slide. So at our downtown building, which is on 18th Avenue, so that's kind of near like 18th Avenue and Van Buren, very close to the state fairgrounds. Right now we have a budget analyst position. You do need to have a minimum of 5 years of experience. Informatics analyst, fortunately, I'm actually glad to say this, the hiring manager sent me a message yesterday and has identified a candidate. So that's a great thing. That position had been open for a few months. It was really kind of tough to find someone with experience in healthcare and analytics. Health program manager, we have lots of different types of health program manager positions, ranging from health program manager 1 to a 3. So the salary depends on that, but many of those positions require a degree in a public health field. So often I see a bachelor's degree in public health or a master's degree in public health. That's definitely beneficial. We have an office chief senior position. So definitely looking for someone who has a high level of supervision and management experience, you know, broad knowledge of epidemiology and experience in managing and overseeing various health programs will be great. And we also have some positions open on our HR team. For example, an employee relations manager. You do have to have at least 7+ years of experience. And we also have other HR positions like an employee relations analyst. We have a entry level, an intermediate, and an advanced. So if you were to look at our career page, you would also see that. Next slide, please. So employee benefits. We definitely have, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, an option of like United Healthcare or Blue Cross Blue Shield. I was actually like quite surprised when I came here to see the benefits as far as like how much the state pays, especially, when you look at all of these as far as paid vacation and sick time, the paid holidays, in addition to retirement, the retirement contribution, it will be automatic at your 27th week anniversary. And the state matches 100%. So for example, I started in June, it didn't kick in until December 25th. And that 12.22% is automatically deducted from my paycheck. And I love how I'm just building my retirement and the state matches it. But one great thing, for example, when you look at all of this, and when you're an employee, you are automatically, you sort of log into this portal called the Yes portal. And that way you can get your W-2 online, for example, you can sign up for all of your benefits and select everything, literally like my benefits started the week after I started, which was amazing. It was just excellent. But you have the option to see your total compensation package. So for example, even though your salary may be $55,000, by the time you add on what the state contributes to your medical, dental, vision, the paid vacation, sick time, holiday time, and the ASRS, it's like, it could be like 20,000 more simply because of the contributions that the state makes on behalf of that. There's an award-winning infant program where you can bring your infant to work. I believe that's for like the first 3 months. There's a transit subsidy. There's also a discount at various places. Like I was surprised, like we can get a discount at C's Candy Store as a state employee. And also at the Capitol Museum, I go in, I wear my badge, and I get that 10% discount, which is really nice. For the most part, most of us are working remote. There are some areas of the Department of Health Services, of course, that are not remote. For example, many positions at the state hospital, you do have to be there because that's direct service. However, many positions that are in our downtown office, probably, I want to say at least 95% are working remote. The state has provided equipment, and that equipment is usually given to the individual like the first day, after first day orientation. So for example, for me, I was given, like my monitors, a laptop, a phone, so that I could properly set up my home office and work remotely. There are some departments that have a hybrid schedule, so they may go in the office 2 to 3 days a week, or there's some, like I mentioned, you have to be there the entire time. Like vital records, we're serving the public, you have to be there every day. But it's pretty much clear in the job descriptions if it's required that you report to the office every day. Next slide, please. So how do you learn more about jobs at the state? You can visit our homepage right there, and then you'll see, current openings, and you can actually create your account or your profile. There will be some basic, questions about your employment, education, name, address, telephone number, that sort of thing. And then once you create that profile and account, you can use that same application to apply for other positions within the state. And you can easily filter positions by department. As I mentioned, there are over 130 different state agencies, and you can also filter by, various categories. There's everything from, health to nutrition, to budget or finance or communications, marketing, program manager, you name it, there's a subcategory. Next slide, please. And upload a copy of your resume. I do want to just emphasize here, make sure it is your resume. Because I myself and my colleagues are reviewing resumes on a daily basis, there have been occasions where I've seen other documents that are not resumes, that are personal information. So please make sure you include your resume. Make sure you have a phone number on your resume and your email address. I've noticed resumes that forget that information. You can attach a cover letter. It's optional, just a nice, addition to add and introduce yourself. I did that, for example, when I was applying for my job, just because I wanted them to get to know me a little bit better. Recruiters do review all resumes and disposition candidates accordingly. So make sure that you're also applying to the position where you meet a lot of those KSAs and where your resume indicates you have a lot of that experience as it pertains to those KSAs and selective preferences. So, all of that is very clear in every position with the state, which is something that I love. The salary is also right there. So for every position, you see it. If you see that position immediately and you're like, 55,000, not enough, I'm looking for 80, then you know from the very beginning. So I love that we're very transparent in all of our postings in that manner. And so what I also mean by dispositioning is not only if the person does not meet that criteria, but if they do meet that criteria, then they are shortlisted and the hiring manager will see that resume. And often I just send a chat message to the hiring manager and I'm like, hey, I just shortlisted this person. Look at this. This looks great. You need to call them immediately. So the hiring manager will actually reach out to you directly. Again, great reason to have your phone number, email on your resume. And they will usually they'll schedule a phone interview first, and then they'll schedule a virtual panel interview. So there might be 2 to 3 other managers, depending on that position. So the timeline for all of this is generally anywhere from like 2 to 4 weeks. And then once the hiring manager has informed me, hey, I'd like to move forward with this candidate, they're going to, send to you that potential new hire, part 1 and part 2 of our employment application, along with the resume. We do conduct references or a background check. So for example, we will contact your current supervisor, granted that you give us permission to do so, and former supervisors. That's just part of our reference check, a short conversation that's usually 7 minutes. We ask about 10 questions, regarding your duties and responsibilities, some of the key things that you may have accomplished, what the working relationship was like, that sort of thing. And then we'll send you a contingent offer letter. And that usually happens while the background check is in process. And the background check or references usually takes about 3 days. And then we start talking about a start date. Our employees always start on a Monday, unless that Monday is a holiday. Then we have the first day orientation on a Tuesday. That session is usually about 2.5 hours. And then your supervisor will collect you from the orientation session and, take you to your new cubicle and again, give you all of your equipment so that you can work remote. Next slide. So these are images of some of our buildings. The one with the 2 palm trees, that's our building downtown on 18th Avenue. That's the building that I work in and report to. HR is on the 2nd floor. And also the building with the sort of circular architectural, sort of side building. that one, that's the state lab, which is actually really close to the building that I work in. I can walk there. And then the one to the far right, that's the state hospital, one of the main entrances. So yeah, and there's my contact information. And by all means, please send me an invite on LinkedIn. Happy to schedule a more in-depth conversation with anyone who is considering working for the state of Arizona, if it be the Department of Health Services or even another agency.
Thank you so much, Tracy. We really appreciate you being here and all the information. I love, and I've heard this before about the state of Arizona, that every single resume that comes through is reviewed and looked at. So thank you for that. We appreciate you being here, and Tracy will be available in the breakout if you would like to chat with her. All right, we are going to move on to Anna. Anna Brambilla has more than 20 years of experience in the field of career transition. She has been a career coach, recruiter, outplacement consultant, and relocation expert. Prior to that, she worked in corporate finance and software project management and holds an MBA in finance and management from the University of San Francisco and an undergrad in management and economics from Simon's College in Boston. But I love Anna's story because in 2017, she was looking for something different and she happened to attend a workshop on franchise options. And she really liked the concept. So she bought her own franchise license with the Entrepreneur's Source and has been helping professionals discover options outside the traditional career path since then. She has been focused on helping people get to know the job, get the job and life they love. And one of her favorite things to do is to be a matchmaker between people and resources. She is an excellent listener, coach, facilitator, and as a career ownership coach, she works really hard to understand her clients. Many come to her not knowing what they want, just that they want something different. And so since she's become a franchise owner, she's helped hundreds of clients explore the options in a safe, fun, and educational environment. And most of them never did become franchise owners. However, all of them learned about options and possibilities. Anna has helped a ton of people through Career Connectors help navigate their careers in franchises, but also outside of franchises and looking at the different options as they're going. So will you please help me welcome Anna Schulman Brambilla. Yay!
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. So glad to be here. As Jessica mentioned, I am a tremendous supporter of Career Connectors and what you're doing, not just financially, of course, that's wonderful, but just emotionally. I'm constantly referring people to you, and I'm so glad to do so. So I am going to talk about something different. I'm going to talk about business ownership simply as an option. One of the things that I love most about what I do is that there's no cost, no obligation to work with me. And I like that because I provide additional path to explore as you're conducting your full-time job search. And I found that there's something magical about figuring out what's important to you. And then with that, it magically appears either a great job or maybe a franchise or other types of business ownership. So you never know, and I love, love, love what I do. Next slide, please. So what is franchising? I can tell you, yes, McDonald's, yes, Subway, yes, 7-Eleven. Those are certainly franchises. They're not in our portfolio. At its core, a franchise is a proven business model. It's like a recipe. So if you ever cook, and I'm a great cook, well, most of the time when I get around to cooking, I'm a decent cook. I don't like to cook every night. That's kind of a pain in the neck. But I love recipes, but I don't follow the recipe to a T. I have some picky eaters in my family. I have some people who like this, who don't like that. So I take it as a general reference. And that's what a franchise is. They give you the support. They give you the tools. They give you all the materials. They give you the coaching to make that, but it's still yours to make and to adjust and to make what you want. It's a win-win franchise business relationship. So the franchisor wants to make you as successful as humanly possible. You want to make yourself successful as humanly possible. And so it's a nice win-win. The other thing that's interesting to know is that franchises are awarded. They're not sold, which means that you can show up on their doorstep with $1 trillion cash on hand and say, I want to buy a franchise, unless they are convinced that you are going to be a truly phenomenal, successful franchisee, they're not going to go forward with you. And that's a great level of confidence because they've done this before. They know what makes a good, successful franchisee, and they want to make sure that you have that. Next slide, please. So why franchising? Why business ownership? All the startup work is done for you. So I think that there's 3 types of people. There are the people who love corporate America. They love having a boss. They love having colleagues. My husband is like that. He loves that stuff. There are the people who are the true entrepreneurs, those people that just have this vision, and any kind of oversight or constraints would just drive them nuts. And then there's people like me in the middle. For me personally, corporate America didn't work. I got sick of the politics. I got sick of the working for unpleasant people. I got sick of making lots of money for other people. But I don't have that brilliant idea of what would make a great franchise or a great business. So I found franchising and just love what I do. Again, the startup work is done for you. It's a proven model. It's a proven brand recognition, proven business. Next slide, please. So we're going to talk about some myths. Next slide, please. First and foremost, it's not just donuts. Now, this is generally talking about the franchising industry as a whole. And you see a fair amount is restaurants and food services. In our portfolio of a couple hundred franchises, only 4% have anything to do with food. Only 4%. So we have franchises in areas that I can guarantee you've never thought about. We have franchises in 85 different industries. So we have things like kids, seniors, home improvement, home restoration, consulting, printing, business services. Women's franchises. We have brick and mortar. We have services. We have things that can be done no matter where you are in the world. So that, in fact, my own franchise, we travel a fair amount. And one of the nice things about what I get to do is I can be sitting in a beach in Hawaii with my phone, or I can be sitting in a cafe in Italy. And I've done both of those things with my franchise. And so that's one of the things I love. Next slide, please. So these are the myths. These are what we're going to go over. So the next slide, please. Finding the right business will make me successful. The truth about franchising is it takes a good person who's willing to follow a good model. That's what a franchise is. So that means that any good person can make any franchise as a good model, can make it successful. That to me is tremendous. I have to do something I love. Certainly that's fun, but get your mindset away from the industry of the franchise. Instead, get your mindset on what you're going to be doing on a daily basis. So many people think I have to do something that's making a difference in the world. And I said, that's wonderful. Think about, for example, a house cleaning franchise. Not everybody wakes up. In fact, I haven't met a person yet who says, I'm desperate to own a house cleaning franchise. Hasn't happened yet. Maybe it will. I don't know. Instead, think about the difference that you're making in people's lives. I'm going to tell you, Tuesday afternoons, my favorite part of the week. I get to go home to a clean house. I love it. My house cleaner is employing other people, so I'm making a difference in their lives. Just to give you something to think about. I'll know the right opportunity the minute I see it. I had a client a couple of years ago and was working with him, came to the point where I showed him specific franchises, and he was very quiet, uncharacteristically quiet. I was like, okay, there's something wrong. Get on the call with him the next week, and he goes, Anna, I have to be honest with you. I hated you. I hated the models. I hated what you presented to me. I thought, oh my God. But he says, I have promised you to have one conversation with all of the franchises, and that's something I do ask everybody. And he says, you know what? One of them, not a fit, but the other two are phenomenal. And he spent several weeks comparing and contrasting, ended up in one of the ones that he initially hated with a passion, and is doing incredibly well. So keep an open mind. I can't be in the X business. I don't know anything about it. A typical franchisor is looking for somebody with your experience. They're looking for somebody who has been in the business world, who knows how to work with people, who knows how to build teams, who knows how to manage relationships, who knows how to get things done. They can teach you the specifics. You don't need to know how to clean a house to own a franchise. You don't need to know how to train somebody, on fitness equipment to own a franchise. They'll teach you what you need to know. Next slide, please. Corporate HQ will dictate everything. I don't have any control. That's a very, very common one. But again, there's the concept you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So I own my franchise. I own my own business. I get to decide where I'm going to work, when I'm going to work, how I'm going to work. It's my franchise. But I have an entire team of people who their only job is to wake up and make me more successful, me and my colleagues. How cool is that? So they're going to do my marketing, they're going to do my finance, my legal, my training, strategic planning. You can think of it, they will do it for me. So that my job and my work is to wake up every day and help my clients. More money than I can afford. Certainly, it's not cheap. Most of our franchises are in the low six figures, even less, and funding is very readily available. I don't know anybody, maybe they're out there, who has an extra $100K in their back pocket and says, yeah, I'm going to go buy a franchise, or maybe I'll buy a cup of coffee. Not very many people are like that. Perhaps they're out there. Instead, what I work with is my clients who have that interest and can come back and they can get funding. It's much, much less expensive than the $1 million that, $2 million that McDonald expects you to have cash in hand. So most of my franchises are $100,000, $200,000 total first year investment, and we have plenty that are well below that $100K. So there's more than what people think. Next step, please. Next slide, please. So shift your mindset. Think about what's possible, what's out there. As I mentioned, as Jessica mentioned, as I mentioned, there's no cost to working with me. All I ask is that you keep an open mind. You never know where this journey is going to take you. As Jessica mentioned, the majority of my clients never end up in a franchise, and I'm thrilled with that. And I have client after client saying, Anna, you spent so much time with me. You spent weeks or months talking to me on a regular basis, and you're not going to make any money off of me. And I said, truly, that's not my goal. I'm fifth generation educator, so it's deep, deep, deep in my blood. And I love giving people information. I love giving people options. So if you're all interested, I'll put my contact information in the chat. Make an appointment, find some time to chat with me. As Jessica mentioned, I have helped lots and lots and lots of career connector clients, and they're some of my favorite people because you know that there's something else out there and you're wanting to explore. Next slide, please. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. I think that's crucial. It's one of the things that I love most. I own my own business, but I'm not by myself. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jessica, and thank you very much for your attention, and I will be in one of the breakout rooms. So thank you.
Thank you, Anna. We appreciate you being here and letting us know about these opportunities. All right, now we're going to close out with just a couple things here, and then we will move into the networking and breakout sessions. And so on the next slide, we talks a little bit about event evaluations. And so if you have feedback for us, shoot us a note, contact@careerconnectors.org. If you have any thoughts on topics you'd like to see us have keynote speaker on, if you're looking at specific hiring companies you'd like us to bring in, or you just have feedback on our speakers or content or flow of our event, anything. We read all the information we get through our evaluation. So please send that over. We'd love to hear from you guys. We also wanted to take a moment to thank our corporate partners. The Entrepreneur Source is one of them. Thank you, Anna. And then we have a handful of other ones that really help us grow and support our communities. And so thank you so much to all of our corporate partners that help run our events. Now on this slide, I want you to see we have a couple resources available for you. First of all, I mentioned this at the beginning, we are recording this. And we have a writer today, Sherry, that is writing the event recap blog. And so both the video from today's event will get posted. It usually takes a day or so to get it posted on our website. And then the event recap blog takes a little longer. It'll probably be posted early next week. And it's the content from the events. And so you can kind of refer back to it. We have all of our events from the last almost 2 years now in the video capture. And so there's a ton of great content in there. We have a really good one on resume, the resume panel that will be also coming up again in about 2 months. But the resume panel and talking about how to write resumes. We have tons on interviewing, just a lot of really good stuff there. And then we also offer the DISC assessment. And so with the DISC assessment, it is free, no cost, and for you, through a partnership with Top Talent Consulting. It's a great assessment where it'll tell you a little bit about your ideal work environment, your communication style. And so feel free to log in there, take that assessment. If you've ever gotten a photo done with us, that's your photo is sitting out on the careerconnectors.org photos site. And we hope to bring back photos soon. It's on pause right now, but we typically have a photographer to do professional headshots for LinkedIn. And so it's been a little weird with COVID, but we hope to bring that back soon. And then all of our social media platforms are right there for you to take a look at. Now we have some really cool events coming up, you guys. On Tuesday, we have a specific event for people that live in or around Avondale. We have 12 companies. It's going to be through a platform called Brazen, which is a virtual platform. And it's kind of like an expo. You know how when you walk around, you go to an event, a big expo, and you walk around and you talk to the different tables and booths. Similar idea, but in a virtual platform. So if you've never attended a Brazen event, I encourage you to register for this, to come in and just kind of see what's going on. We'll be doing some live interviews, but the way and the flow of the event is completely different than our content events, than these events. And so we have 12 companies that are hiring on hospitality, restaurants, and retail. And so that's on Tuesday, February 1st. And then on Thursday, February 10th, one of our typical events, back to this format, is Travis Harden, another phenomenal speaker, getting my career shift together. And so you're going to hear him talk about how, career transition and how to get moving faster and some of the components of that. And then we have ADP, Exact Pay, and then Mark Anthony Brewery is launching a whole facility out here, not in they're a brewery, but the whole manufacturing facility out here. So we're looking for all kinds of positions for that company as well. Then on Thursday, February 17th, we have another Brazen event. And this one is for Southwest Valley and Phoenix Metro Career Jobapalooza. And what we mean by that is the companies we are bringing in are going to be in those industries. However, there's also going to be a lot of remote positions within that event. And so that's on February 17th. That's again on the Brazen platform, a little bit different. And our companies there are going to be in advanced manufacturing and distribution, healthcare, technology, and construction. So a little bit of, each of those 5 industries are going to be represented at that event. All of our events coming up can be found on careerconnectors.org, and then just go to the event schedule. All right, just another, the next slide here is just another slide on Avondale. And this is a list of the companies that are going to be at the Avondale event. If you or anyone you know is interested in this kind of these kind of careers, there are going to be some interviews on the spot and possibly job offers happening that day. So anyone in that kind of retail hospitality space is a really great event for them to join off of. And if you know where Avondale is, it's right off the 101, where kind of the 202 meets the 202 meets the I-10. Sorry, the 202 meets the I-10, and so it's kind of Southwest Valley. All right. So then this is just a screenshot of our homepage. You can see event registration is right in the middle, but why we show you this slide is where you can see event recordings. Event recordings is where you'll find all of our events that have been recorded in the last 2 years, and you can search through those. As you have registered for this event, you will now get emails on Monday mornings that tell you about the events that are coming up. If you're not getting those yet, then subscribe here and we'll get your email address into our database in our system. Thank you so much to the volunteers we have today. You guys are phenomenal. We greatly, greatly appreciate each of you helping us make these events happen. Specifically, I want to say thank you to Erin Mullen. She is kind of on loan to us from Freedom Financial Network. She has stepped up. As you guys may know, we have had a significant transition on our team. And Sheila Coulomb, who has been with us for 7 years, left at the end of December. And so Erin has stepped in and has been hosting our Zoom calls and making sure nothing falls apart while we're in transition. And we are so excited for Bree to start on Monday, who is our new event director. And I know she was on the call. I'm not sure if she still is, but we're so excited for that. And so thank you, Erin. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have been a real lifeline to us. All right, if you are interested in volunteering, then check out careerconnectors.org/volunteer, and we have lots of needs and support that's needed. And especially as we kick off 2020, we have a ton of new projects on the books, and we would love your support. Now, as you know, we are Career Connectors, a 501c3 nonprofit. It takes us about $42 per person for us to run these events. And so if you are so inclined, once you land your next position, if you would like to give back, careerconnectors.org/donate is the place where you can help. And, you know, only through donations and partnerships have we been able to serve 47,000 people in the last 12 years. So thank you to everyone that has ever donated. We greatly appreciate you. All right, well, that is the end of the official program. We're gonna move over to our breakout rooms now. And I wanna show you the breakout rooms we have today are listed on this slide. Side note, Bridget sent me a note a few minutes ago that she had to hop off because she has an urgent thing that she had to leave for. So she's exceptionally sorry, but she said, email her, contact her. She put a link in the chat with all the ways to connect with her. If you have any questions, if you'd like to follow up, please do that. And again, she's so sorry she couldn't stay for the breakout room today. But we do have Blue Cross Blue Shield. Liz will have a room. Tracy will be in a room with the Arizona Department of Health Services. Anna on the Entrepreneur Source. And then our coaches today. So we'll have a room for Amanda Miller and a room for Maureen. They are both resume reviews. And so these are professional certified resume writers, part of the Resume Writers Association of Arizona. And you guys, they are the best of the best. And so I know probably a lot of you have had guidance on resumes from family or friends or people that have worked in HR or people that have hired before. I am telling you, our resume writers are phenomenal. They know how to get through the applicant tracking systems, and they would love to help you. Then we have Nicole Langston here for LinkedIn review, and then Gian Boldy if you have questions about finances while you're in career transition. How unemployment, he can sometimes answer some stuff around unemployment, but Gian is phenomenal when it comes to the financial side. So we have a quick little video that Erin's going to run, and it's just going to take 1 minute to show you how to get into the breakout rooms.
Okay, when a host opens breakout rooms, allowing participants to choose which one to go in, down in your toolbar, you're going to see the breakout room icon pop up like this, and a little message says join a breakout room. That goes away in a second, but you can still click breakout rooms, and it'll show you the list of available rooms. I just left it room 123 right now, but it will have the type of coaching available in each room. So let's say you want to go into room 1, you hover there and then move your mouse over to the right, and the number there will turn to the word join. Click join. It'll ask you, do you want to join room 1? Say yes, and it'll send you to room 1. Now once you're in the room, you can see who's here by clicking participants at the bottom. You can chat with the people by typing. Obviously, you can also speak, unmute yourself and speak. And then when you're done in that room, you can click the blue Leave Room button. It'll give you 2 choices, Leave Meeting or Leave Breakout Room. Leave Meeting kicks you all the way out of the Zoom session. So you want to leave the breakout room. It'll send you back to the main session.
Okay. So that's how to get into the breakout rooms. I just want to mention a recent glitch we have found is that if you don't have the latest version of Zoom, then when you go to leave a breakout room, you may not have the option to go back to the main room. You actually may have to leave the meeting and come back in. So just a little side note, if that happens to you, it's totally okay. We're watching the people come back in and letting them back in the room. And so Erin's going to launch the breakout rooms. And before we go into the breakout rooms, I just want to say to you all, thank you for being here. We are praying for each of you that you land into the career of your dreams. Thanks for spending your time with us today. All right. And Erin has launched the breakout rooms. And you may go ahead, and it looks like all of our speakers are in there. So you may go ahead and move over to your breakout rooms. If you get stuck or don't see the join button, just drop it in the chat and we will shoot you off to the room you want to go in. Just tell us where you want to go. People are moving, great. Thank you, Erin. Great event today. Thank you.
You bet. I'm going to kind of miss coming. I come every once in a while.
That's right. Okay, Martin Kirk. Hey, Martin, it should be on your bottom bar. There should be breakout rooms, but if you know where you want to go, we can assign you there and have send you over there. So we have Erin, you want to put back the slide that has all the rooms? Perfect. So if you know where you want to go, which of these rooms, we can assign you there, Martin. I'm on okay. Oh, he doesn't see the iPad. Okay, there's no bottom bar. Sometimes there's also like 3 dots, and I think it's usually in the upper right-hand corner, not 100% about the location. But if you want to just let us know where you want to go, we can still send you there, even though if you don't have a bar. Sign me to the LinkedIn review. Okay.
I can do that if you want me to.
Yep, great, thank you.
There we go.
And he's off. Good. Emily, if you would like to go anywhere, just let us know if you're having any problems, or we'd be happy to help you. You can also drop it in the chat. Arturo, same thing. If you'd like to go somewhere, just let us know.
Do you want me to continue recording, or do you want me to?
Oh yeah, you can take it off. Thanks.